أسعد الله صباحكم طلابنا الأعزاء في قسم القانون الجزائي، ماجستير القانون الجزائي، مقرر القانون الجزائي باللغة الإنجليزية. هذه هي المحاضرة الأولى من المقرر نتكلم عن القانون الجزائي، تعريفه ومحتوياته، ثم في المحاضرات القادمة نتكلم عن أنواع الجرائم المتعلقة بالقتل الواقعة على الإنسان، ثم الجرائم الواقعة على الملكين مثل السرقة والسلب بالعنف وغيره. نبدأ محاضرتنا الأولى عن القانون الجزائي بتاريخ 17 آذار 2020. What is criminal law? Criminal law, and sometimes is called penal law, but most of the writers call it criminal law. This law is related to crimes, offenses, their punishment, what constitute wrong in the criminal law, the responsibility, who is responsible, when the responsibility or liability is diminished, the reasons for justification if a crime was committed, the mitigating and aggravating circumstances. So the criminal law is a set of rules which define crimes and their punishments and the ways of litigation in criminal matters. القانون الجزائي هو مجموعة من القواعد التي تحدد ماذا يشكل جرائم وعقوباتها وطرق التقاضي بها. فالقانون الجزائي يقسم إلى قسمين: law of punishment، قانون العقوبة or punishments، قانون العقوبات، and the law of criminal procedures، وقانون الأصول الجزائي. إذن قانون الجزائي هو قانونين: the law of punishments، قانون العقوبات، and the law of criminal procedures، وقانون الأصول الجزائي أو أصول المحاكمات الجزائية. We start with the law of punishments. The law of punishments is a set of rules defines what are the crimes and what are their punishments. And how criminal liability is in the how criminal liability is defined in the law, which includes the mitigating and aggravating circumstances. When we study criminal law, we remember always two things: crime and offense. Crime is a big offense, is a felony. يعني crime غالبا للجريمة التي هي جناية. Offense is for misdemeanors and contraventions. كلمة offense للجنح والمخالفة. Was the tribal division of offenses or crimes? The tribal division in most countries is the crimes are felonies, misdemeanors, and contraventions. جناية وجنح ومخالفة. How can you distinguish between a felony and misdemeanor or a contravention? For a felony, the punishment usually the minimum is 3 years imprisonment or hard imprisonment. That's the minimum. In a misdemeanor, the maximum is 3 years. The maximum period of imprisonment is 3 years, which usually start from 10 days until 3 years. This is a misdemeanor. For a contravention, the punishment is usually from 1 day until 10 days. That's for imprisonment. But there is the fine. The fine usually bigger in felonies than misdemeanors and bigger in misdemeanors than contraventions. In any crime, there is the mens rea, the actus reus and the mens rea, or the mens rea and the actus reus. Mens rea is the intent in the crime. mens rea الركن المعنوي، يعني القصد في الجريمة. Some crimes are by negligence. بعض الجرائم بالإهمال. There is no intent. Actus reus is the criminal act. الفعل الجرمي. in a crime, there is actus reus and mens rea, and there is the relationship that the actus reus led to the result. الركن المعنوي أو القصد الجرمي، الفعل الجرمي، والعلاقة السببية، the causation between the criminal act and the result. الفعل الجرمي هو الذي أدى إلى النتيجة الجرمي أو إلى إيذاء الضحية. motive of crime. In crimes there is a motive، الدافع إلى الجريمة، unless they are by negligence، ما لم تكن بالإهمال. liability means responsibility، criminal liability. criminal liability المسؤولية الجزائية. The conditions of criminal liability is any person subject to criminal liability? Not every person subject to a criminal liability. People who are below the age of 7, they are irresponsible. No criminal liability. Criminal liability is conducted with discretion. If there is no discretion, no criminal liability. مسؤولية الجزائي تقام على التمييز. إذا لا يميز إذا غير مسؤول. People who have complete madness, they are out of criminal liability. What do we call the result of the crime? Is the tort, الإيذاء. We should know also there is no ex post facto laws in criminal matters that a crime or an action which is not punished by law should not be considered a crime in a law that comes after the crime. The laws, criminal laws, apply forward, not backward, unless it is in the interest of the criminal. So no ex post facto laws in criminal matters is different from the civil matters. نرجع عدم رجعية القوانين في الأمور الجزائية with some exceptions if it was for the interest of the criminal. What should we know in criminal matters? There is no crime without a legal text, and no punishment without a legal text. This is important principle in criminal law. No crime and no punishment without a legal text. لا عقوبة ولا جريمة إلا بقانون. The only source of a criminal law is the written legislation. Only written legislation. No custom. No custom like the civil matters or other sources of law. This was mentioned in the Constitution of the Syrian Arab Republic in the year 2002, which said in Article 51, no crime and no punishment without a law. Why the state or any state adopt a legal system for crimes? The penal system is adopted for the interest of society and individual. For the interest of society, that the punishment make individuals avoid the retaliation. Courts make punishment for the criminals. Then individuals do not think to retaliate from the criminal, because retaliation can lead to a series of crimes. By this way, the society avoid retaliation. There are another interest is the penal system or the punishments in a criminal law that are a crime, because they bring dangerous persons to imprisonment, and then other individuals will not think to commit crimes, and the individuals who committed the crimes, they will be rehabilitated and return back to the society with correct thinking. The third interest is expiation. The individual who committed a crime thinks he had done something wrong. He wanted to punish himself. If he was punished by imprisonment and fine, or by one of them, he would think that he expiated himself. The penalty, the punishment, expiated himself and thinks free. That's the benefit of the penal system. Why people, or some people, do commit crimes? Are they dangerous by their nature, or by their education, or by the circumstances which led them to commit crimes? In fact, we have a number of theories. Each theory was enthusiastic to be in one of the sides, in one side. One story said the nature of the person, the physical nature is important in making him a criminal. The second theory says the education, the society that he took the ideas, how he was grown up and educated. The third theory says about the circumstances of the person. That his economic situation, his moral situation, that helped him to commit crimes. We will not go further in these theories because this are left to the courses of criminology, and we are giving ideas about criminal law. The persons who commit crimes are called criminals when they commit the crime usually more than once. Commit not only one crime, but if a person committed a crime once, you see, he may regret his action. So you can't insist that it is a criminal. The abitur is responsible also. The responsibility not only for the person who committed the crime, but the abitur. The abitur, he is the person who creates enthusiasm to another for committing a crime. If the enthusiasm was from the person himself, this is called the provocation. Provocation. يعني إثارة. If a person made the idea for another to commit a crime, he is abitur, محرك. Anyway, if the person who had nobody to provocate him, but he provoked himself, means the everything is from his inside. يعني إذا كان التحريض منه من نفسه طبعا ما في محرض خارجي، محرض داخلي، provocation، إثارة داخلي. incitement أيضا تحريض. capacity الأهلي. capacity can be adequate, full capacity, or inadequate. There is incapacity. انعدام الأهلية. Inadequate capacity usually for the people who are below the age of full capacity. Like if a person was 17 years or 16 years of his age, his capacity is inadequate. He has partial insanity. But if his capacity was absent totally, that means incapacity, which negates their criminal liability, like mad people, full madness or complete madness, and the people who are below the age of 7. What about self-defense? Self-defense, when the person, in a case of self-defense, he has no criminal liability because he wanted to defend himself. Some aggression came on him, or even on a dear person to him. The defense of a property also, defending his property, or even the property of a dear person to him. This negates criminal liability. That means there was no other way of defending himself, only that he committed a crime. But this negates his responsibility, his criminal liability, because he is in the case of self-defense. What about mitigating and aggravating circumstances? Mitigating circumstances reduces the punishment. Reduce punishment because some certain reasons were in the crime. Without these reasons, perhaps he would not commit this crime. Like the person who steals others because he is hungry, did not have enough money to buy his needs. This is in a mitigating circumstance. Aggravating circumstance, like a person who did steal to increase his wealth. He does not need to steal, but he wanted to increase his wealth, and he did steal a weak person, a child, a disabled person. That means he is dangerous. There will be aggravating circumstance. His punishment will be increased. If it was 1 year, maybe it become 1 year and 3 months. Types of punishment, we say that the types of punishment, either imprisonment or fine. Imprisonment varies. Can be imprisonment with hard work, can be arrest for political crimes. Imprisonment with hard works usually for felonies. Capital punishment for crimes of murder. Murder is the most dangerous crime. Is committed with malice aforethought. Some countries did abolish capital punishment and made the punishment is imprisonment for life. Prevention of residence in a particular area. It is also, we find it in laws of punishments. You know the arguments about capital punishment. Somebody said it is uncivilized punishment, and if the person was condemned, how can we bring him again to life if we discover that he is innocent? Those who are against capital punishment. Those who are in favor of capital punishment say that capital punishment should be done because there are some crimes which are dangerous and can make people keep themselves away from dangerous crimes. We know in criminal laws amnesty and grace. What is amnesty and what is grace? Amnesty is a law from the legislative power which makes the crimes that are committed in a certain period of time not punished. While grace is granted after the punishment, just not to implement the punishment, not to take the person to a prison or substitute his punishment to another punishment is lesser, or to a fine. Is granted usually by the President of the Republic or the King, if it was a kingdom. In the case of amnesty, the action does not constitute a crime in the record of the person. In grace, it still constitutes a crime in his record. Just now we argue kinds of crimes. What are the kinds of crimes? Kinds of crimes are many and varied. The most known of them, homicide crimes. We will explain this in detail in another seminars. This includes murder, voluntary manslaughter, and involuntary manslaughter. Genocide. Genocide is very dangerous crime. Murder is committed here against a group of people. Attempted murder. Attempted murder, also dangerous crime. Kidnapping, taking a person from one place to another place by force. Grievous bodily harm. Assault, any kind of assault, harassments in all its kinds, offenses of dishonesty related to the trust, fraud, handling stolen goods, deception. Incitement also is a crime. Crimes by omissions. That's an idea about criminal law. I hope you read about criminal law to have an idea, to be able to know what criminal law contains, particularly the law of punishments. What about the law of penal procedures? This is for the ways of litigation in criminal matters. How the courts conduct in a criminal matter to impose the punishment on the offender. You should know that a prescription is different between the law of punishments and the law of criminal procedures or penal procedures, because in the second law the people did not know whether the person is guilty or not, so the period of prescription is less. The criminal action should be within 1 year in a contravention, 3 years in a misdemeanor, 10 years in a felony. But if the punishment was done by court, the prescription will be 25 years for capital punishment and permanent imprisonment, and then it starts this with the other crimes. We stop our seminar here, and the second seminar or lecture will be about crimes of homicide or homicide crimes. We start with murder. This will be in the next week, and the course you will have a copy of it once we meet. يعني راح تاخذوا انتم صورة عن المنهاج عندما نجتمع في محاضرة. الآن المتوقع انه اسبوعين او 3 تكون المحاضرات على سماعية مرئية على الكمبيوتر. إذن نلتقي في المحاضرة القادمة.